everyone. Today's video discussion is actually part two to a previous video that I recorded referencing the matter of claiming dependents. Now, in that particular video, I mentioned the four tests that need to be met to claim a qualifying child or qualifying children. And I also mentioned the six tests that have to be met to claim qualifying relatives. What I didn't mention in that video is that there can only be one exemption or one dependent claim for an individual, which means that if someone else can claim you on their tax return, you cannot claim an exemption for yourself on your tax return. In regards to the dependents, which can be either a qualifying child or qualifying children or qualifying relative, only one person can claim that individual. If two or more people attempt to claim the same individual, the IRS knocks that out because they see that the Social Security number or the TIN has been used already, and they will not allow a second person to claim someone that is already in the system as a dependent. Now, there are situations where boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever the situation may be, one tries to claim the dependent and the other tries to claim the dependent. Usually the way that it works is whoever claims that dependent first is usually the one that will get the credit for that dependent. But now, just because an individual claimed that dependent first does not mean that it was proper for them to do so. If there's ever an issue as to who should have claimed the dependent, you can always contact the IRS and they can determine for you who should have claimed the dependent. There are actually rules, it's called the tiebreaker rules, that allows people to determine who should claim a dependent. Say, for instance, if there's a husband and wife, they're separated or they're divorced or whatever the situation may be. They have the child or children 50% of the time. There are different criteria that you can use to determine who is actually the person that can claim the dependent credit. As I don't know that information off the top of my head, I cannot accurately tell you what that criteria is for the tiebreaker rule. But you can look up the information on the IRS website by going to www.irs.gov, and it's called the tiebreaker rule. There is also a form that can be used if you want to release claiming a dependent to your ex-spouse or ex-boyfriend or whatever. If I'm not mistaken, that form number, well, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you the form number because I think I'm getting it confused with another number. So you can look it up on the IRS website, and there's a form that will allow you to release the dependency credit so that someone else can claim that dependent credit, such as your ex-husband or ex-wife, etc. So to recap, again, only one person, there's only one exemption per person. Two people cannot claim the same person. Now, there's a practice that people tend to participate in where they're basically claiming their sisters or brothers, daughters, niece, nephew, etc. That's not the right way to do it. That's not the legitimate way to do it. Even though this has been going on for years, and it probably will continue to go on. But the IRS is becoming more and more aware of these practices, and the IRS is taking actions to prevent these practices. So know that the legitimate way to claim a dependent is by meeting either the 4 tests for qualifying child or children or the 6th test for qualifying relative. And for more detailed information regarding a qualifying child or children or a qualifying relative, you can again refer to the IRS website. You can also refer to my website, which is located at www.audiotaxhelp.com. That's www.audiotaxhelp.com. And as I am a expert on a qualified, reputable Q&A site, you can also reference questions that I have already answered for many individuals by simply going to Google, Bing, or AOL and typing in tax.appeal.168. That's tax.appeal.168. And if you need a question answered in a rather quick manner, you can click on the link that's on the home page of my website, and that will take you directly to me on the Q&A site. Well, this concludes my discussion regarding part 2 of claiming dependents. And as always, my hope is to help you make your life a little less taxing.